What's up, guys? Sorry, had to have a little shred moment there. Welcome to All Things Guitar 101. My name is Jens St. J. Thank you for watching another episode here. Today I'd definitely like to talk a little bit about the basics of theory and how it relates to the guitar. Music theory is a lot of people make it more complicated than it really needs to be. And I was confused about it for the longest time, but I went to college at the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California, and it was just, the way they explained it to me just really made sense to me, and it was just, I thought, I was like, gosh, it was supposed to be that, I think people make it to be way more difficult than it really needs to be. So I'm just going to talk about the very basics of it, and first thing I'd like to talk about is the music alphabet. And when you're talking about the music alphabet, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it goes to C. And you always want to use C as the starting point, rather than the normal alphabet. You'd think, why don't you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A? You can, but for sake of learning purposes, we'll always use C as the starting point because C is actually the major scale. It's the mother scale. So we start with C and it ends with C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, and when we're talking about that on the guitar, each one of our strings is a note. So like I said in the prior videos, that this top string here is our E string, this is our A string, this is our D string, this is our G string, this is our B string, and this is our E string again, a high E and a low E here. Okay, so when we're for sake of learning purposes on this low E string, we always want to remember that when we're talking about the alphabet, we have sharps and flats, which means sharp is a pitch higher than, and a flat is a pitch lower than. And you can attach a sharp or a flat to almost any note. There are some exceptions to the rule, but for sake of learning purposes, we'll start with C. So if we have C on our guitar, this is a C note. So if we go up one fret, this is actually C sharp, because here's C and we go up a half step, it's C sharp, but it also can be called D flat, because here's our C, and if it goes up in half steps, it goes C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and then it goes to F, which I'll explain, because there's no, in the music alphabet, the main thing you always want to remember is there's no E sharp, and there's no B sharp. Now technically you could say E sharp is F, which it is. Really, but you wouldn't, if you said E sharp, around people who are musically inclined, they'd probably just laugh at you because they know you mean F. So don't say that. Always say, if you mean F, don't say E sharp, and if you mean C, don't say B sharp. Okay, so other than that, between each note, there's sharps and flats. So like I said, if you have a C note and you go up a half step, it's sharp. And if you go up a half step from the C sharp, it's D, right? But like I said, where it can get a little confused is you can also refer C sharp as D flat, because remember, flat means lower than. So it means lower than D. So if here's D, lower than is D flat, the same as C sharp, higher than. So now if we're on D, we go up a fret that's higher than, which means sharp. So D, this note is D sharp. Or the next note, if we go up a half step, it's actually E. But if we go lower than, it's E flat. So it's D sharp or E flat is here. So then this is E. And remember what I said about one step up from E is F, right? Because there's no E sharp. So then a half step up from F is F sharp. Half step up from F sharp is G. You gotta remember this could also be G flat, depending on what key you're in. You know, you could use either of the names. So if this is your G, you go up a half step from G is what? G sharp. If you go up a half step from G sharp, you have A. If you go down, it could also be referred to as A flat. So hopefully you're following me. So always just remember whatever note you're referring to, higher than is a sharp if you go up in pitch. You know, so it's like I said, D. If you want to go up a half a fret, that's always going up in pitch. And if you're going down, this is you're flatting the note. So D down in pitch means it's flat. D up in pitch means it's sharp. Now, what always confused me was like, okay, well, if for an example, for learning purposes, say, you know, we have a C sharp. Well, how do we know to tell it? How do we know that it's a C sharp and not a D flat? How do I know what to call it? Well, when we get more into music theory, we find out that when you're creating scales and you're creating, you know, chords and stuff like that, you can't have two of the same note. You know what I mean? They have to be different. So, you know, in a scale, you can only have one C. And when in a scale, full scale, there's seven notes. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again, right? So really only seven, but eight. So there's only seven notes in a scale, and you can't have two Bs, you can't have four Cs. It just doesn't work that way. You can have one note, and there's seven notes you can have. So you have to have an A, you have to have a B, you have to have a C, you have to have a D, you have to have an E, you have to have an F, and you have to have a G. You know, so you have to have all those notes. So say if you're playing a scale and there's a C sharp and there's a C in that scale, which one do you use? Well, you use the C, and then you would just say C sharp as D flat, and you would use that instead of just put two C's in the scale, because you can't have that. So I mean, that's usually the case. So hopefully hopefully you understand a little bit better now the basics of you know, starting with the alphabet, you know, as far as the music alphabet is concerned. And so, like I said, and if here's your E string, right? Here's your E string, and then you want to challenge yourself. Say, okay, this is an E string. The second one here is an A, D, G, B, and E. And like I said, if you go up, here's your E, here's your F, F sharp, or G flat, G, A, B, C, D, E. This 12th fret here is an E as well. It's an octave up. Octave means it's the same note, just a higher pitch. So hopefully that explains a little bit of the mystery behind the music alphabet and the rules behind it as well. So if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask them down in the comments section below. Other than that, thank you for watching All Things Guitar 101. My name is Jens St. J, and have a rockin' day.